Thanks a lot, folks, for tuning in tonight on the Racing Show. Appreciate it. And I got a special guest with us tonight, Al Jones. Now, Al lives here in Fairview at Fernvale community. He's always been knows everybody around here in Fairview, and he's probably one of the most passionate race fans I've ever known. He's loved it for long as he's been living. I talked to him about coming up here, and I said, "When's the first race you went to, Al?" He said, "I was about 1 year old." So he's been going a long time. But I'm going to touch base a little bit on the news for this week. So I don't know if y'all watched the NASCAR race. Kyle Larson just really he put it on him at Las Vegas out there. Man, just dominated the whole race. And Donnie Schatz at Volusia County for the Speed Week races won the first night, got rained out. They ran the second night. Donnie Schatz won his 500th sprint car win, which is just unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
500 wins. And in J&J chassis, same chassis we run. So congratulations to him. And a shout out to Landon Crawley. He ran sixth. He drives the 7S from Memphis, Jason Side's car, and he ran sixth most of the race and ended up finishing eighth, which he's only 16 years old, and to do that well in a World of Outlaws, series is just that's great. But congratulations to Donnie and on his win. That's just super good. The races this weekend at Hattiesburg, the USCS at Hattiesburg and Columbus, Mississippi got rained out. They just got a lot of weather coming in. We're supposed to practice Saturday night at Hohenwald on the 9th. I think it's the 9th. At 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and we're calling for 80% chance of rain on Saturday here, so it's just up in the air. We'll see how that pans out, but we got the car just about ready to go, and we're looking forward to it if we get a chance to practice. So Al, I wanted to talk to you. We're going to kind of hit on the earlier part of racing around here and what you remember. And one thing I want to touch base on is the Super Drag track, which was here in Fairview. That was a drag strip, correct?
Correct.
And you said you ran out there, and you tell us about it being dirt and how that was.
Well, I've been going to stock car races, and Dad and I decided that we heard about Super, going to ride out there and see what it was like. So we went on the spectator side, and the track itself had a concrete starting pad, and then it was dirt. And at the end of the finish line, there was 2 oak trees, and a guy sat in a homemade tree stand with a pulley and a red flag, the green flag. And he decided who won, and when the dust settled, he run a green flag in the winner's lane and a red flag in the loser's lane.
Would pull it back across the track.
Pull it back across the track. And if the water truck didn't show up, it could be a long Sunday afternoon waiting on the dust settle.
Now, was that a quarter mile or 1/8 mile?
It was a quarter mile.
Quarter mile. So, boy, you get running pretty good on a quarter mile.
It was filled in between 2 hills. There was no guardrails, and a real sharp turn at the end of the braking area to come back up to the return road.
Yeah.
So it was what they called an outlaw track.
Yeah. Yeah.
And later on, I ran down there after it was paved when I was in school and all. And
so you said that was probably about 1961 or 2?
Yeah, around 60, 61 when it was dirt.
Yeah.
And because I ran down there in 63, 4, and part of 65, I think.
Now tell us what kind of car you had when you raced.
I had a handful of. The first car I drove was my dad's 58 Oldsmobile station wagon.
Super light. Lightest car you could get. Yeah. It probably weighed
4,500, 5,000 pounds.
Yeah. Big head, but it had a big motor in it.
It had a big motor in it. It was geared high, so it didn't have much takeoff. It had a good top end on it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was fun. We went down at Riverside when they opened up. Didn't have a Christmas tree. Billy Alejandro was the flagman.
Uh-huh.
So you had to learn to read the flagman.
Now, of course, they didn't have a Christmas tree at the
Super.
Super Drag either.
No.
Just had a flagman. Yeah.
When we went to Super, I ran that 58 O's down there. I ran a 51 O's. I ran a 54 Oldsmobile. I ran a 56 Pontiac. I tried everything. And they didn't class you just right, so a lot of times I was competing against cars a whole lot faster than me.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm sure a lot lighter than you. Yeah.
Well, I finally got a 64 Super Sport, and I started winning. I won about a fourth of my races the last year, a drag race down
Now,
there.
was that an Impala Super Sport? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
327, 250 horse.
Uh-huh. Did it have a 3-speed or 4?
No, it was automatic.
Automatic. 2-speed automatic?
2-speed automatic, but it was just right for the class I was running.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of fun. It's down at Riverside. Later on, I furnished security for Curtis down there 1 year. I furnished a record for him 2 or 3 years. I had a service station. When they had out-of-town shows, they'd bring your cars up there and park them overnight and all. Made a lot of friends. Had a good time.
So, so you talked about your dad taking you to the races. So, where's the first races you went to?
Legion Bowl.
The Legion Bowl.
On Calvin Street. Quarter-mile, high-bank dirt track.
Uh-huh.
Mr. Bill Donahoe was the promoter.
Now, was that in the 50s?
Yep.
Yeah.
It was in the 50s, and went out to the fairgrounds during the state fair, watched them run on the 1.125 horse track.
Was you there when the guy got killed? What's his?
Frank Reed.
Frank Reed. That's correct.
That was terrible.
And that was wasn't that the last race on the mile track?
I can't remember if it was the last one or not. It may have run. Seemed like they ran one more year.
Uh-huh.
I think he was killed in 56, and I think they ran in 57.
You can still see on the back straightaway over there where the track was at. Actually, over where the new fairgrounds deal, where we have the building where we have the Hall of Fame meeting. You know, you can see where the track. Well, you could before they built that. You could actually see where the track went up close to that hill there, pretty close. You know, the turn. So you went to the Legion Bowl and the fairgrounds to the mile track.
Yep.
And how old was you? You think? Like, do you remember what's the first race you remember going to?
I remember going to the Legion Bowl, probably in 55 or 56. And
now did Clymer race then?
No, Clymer wasn't racing then. He raced later on, and he came down from Smyrna. Let me see, late 60s, I guess, mid 60s. He came down to from Smyrna and started racing in Nashville. And we need to keep that family in our prayers too, because they're going through some real hard times.
I know James and his son Tommy both are in bad condition. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Laura, James's daughters, running herself crazy trying to take care of them. You know, that family needs our prayers bad.
We will keep them in our prayers. I seen a picture of them. They're in the same room. Is that correct? Or the picture?
Well, they put them in the same room to visit.
Yeah.
They got them on different floors now.
Yeah. I mean, James Clymer raced all over up and, you know, like I guess in about the mid 60s. I mean, he on the quarter-mile tracks, he was just unbeatable on those.
Just about.
Yeah. So you went to Legion Bowl. Now, did you go to Highland Rim?
I didn't go to Highland Rim, but it was dirt. They all did it up in 62. And it was dirt to 69. And I didn't go up there until it was paved.
Yeah.
But L.J. Hampton, who drove out the fairgrounds, built that track, and they opened up in 62. And that's a good track.
So did you ever, now I didn't ask you about this, but I almost know that there used to be a racetrack in Franklin out on Carter's Creek Pike where the radio station is. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did you ever go there?
No, I didn't. But it was out there. I've seen records of it.
I've heard guys talk about that, and there's a field. If you know, I don't know if you guys know where. I don't even know if is the radio station still there.
No.
it's close to where the school bus garage is, right? Kind of next door, isn't it? There was a big field there. Used to be a radio station there, and that in that field they had a dirt track. It must have been in the 40s and 50s. I've heard like Jack Marlin race there and guys like that from Columbia, but I've never seen any pictures of it.
I didn't either. Raced down at Hohenwald too.
Yeah, they had a racetrack. Now the racetrack at Hohenwald was on the same piece of property that the racetrack is on now. It was just different, and it was situated different. And I think later on they had a drive-in movie theater there also. But there's a guy that raced down Hohenwald, and he won ton. I can't even think. He was Spears.
Hassel Spears.
Hassel Spears.
His son has restored his old car. He's sitting in the shop down there.
Yeah. I mean, he won tons of races, and he ended up getting burnt real bad with the car, didn't he?
I'm not sure.
I think so. Had a fuel line break, and he got burnt real bad. But he won tons of races, and I think that he went to Daytona and run in a sportsman race, probably 59 or 60, something like that. And he came to Nashville. Didn't he come to Nashville and race also?
Yeah, he came to Nashville. He used to stop at, you know where the log cabin is, going off Whippoorwill Hill.
Yeah.
There used to be a restaurant.
Yeah.
He used to stop there and get him a hamburger, a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Because usually Lester made some good hamburgers, and he stopped there and talked to them. And
that's an interesting story right there. I remember we worked on that little log cabin, so I know that it was like a little truck stop or restaurant. Yeah. And but that's pretty cool that the race car driver stopped there and on his way to Nashville. Yeah. So we talked about a racetrack over at Old Hickory. Did you ever go over there?
I went over there, but I don't remember it. Dad told me to carry me over there 2 or 3 times. It was in the bottom. When we went across the bridge, it was leaving Madison, it was on the right-hand side, down the bottoms.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, Al, I know you and I both got a lot in common because we love racing, and it's kind of hard maybe for people that don't understand, but I mean, racing is really a family. Yeah. You go to the racetrack and you see people every week, and they become your family. So I know what we're going to do here is we're going to have a second show later on in a few months, and we're going to talk about the second part of Al's racing life. So he ends up buying a car and racing at Nashville, a Chevelle. So we'll have to talk about that. And he ended up finding a famous stock car here in Tennessee, and a famous crew chief bought it and restored it, which is still here now. So we're going to talk about that. So you guys tune in later on, and I really want to thank you all for tuning in today. And remember, be good to your neighbors. Maybe you'll have good neighbors. Talk to y'all later. Thank you. What happened?
You know what?
You're kidding.